I want to thank you all for coming out and your patience. Of course, this has been a very long, ongoing case. It's one of our longest cases. My name is John C. Barnett, first name J, L-H-N, middle initial C, last name Barnett, B-A-R-N-E-T-T. I'm the founder of True Healing Under God Civil Rights Initiative, which is an acronym for THUG. In '94, my brother was shot by my cousin in the back over a pair of tennis shoes. In '95, I went to the Million Man March. Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and others told us to come home and write one brother in prison. I came home and forgave my brother's killer, who I just talked to yesterday. We're embarking on our 20-year anniversary of my brother's death. So I started writing inmates in jail, came up with Thug. It was inspired by 3 individuals: Jesus, Tupac Shakur, and Malcolm X, believe it or not. But those are all inspirational ideas for me for this organization. In 2002, we started working with Reverend Al Sharpton in the field of civil rights. In '08, we went full-time due to all of the extreme cases, obviously, that we've been having here. Brother Ali can tell you war stories, probably. From Troy Davis in Jackson, Georgia, to Jasmine Thar case. We've been addressing that. We have a pending lawsuit with Mr. Willie Gary from Florida's legal team is working on that case, all the way to the Trayvon Martin rally. And so today we're here in Concord after 37 years of Ronnie Long being picked up by officers in this particular city and taken to jail and later prison. It's been over 37 years, a lot of red flags in this case, missing evidence, evidence that's so old, DNA is very challenging for us. But the family, as I met with them a little less than a month ago, I see that they're still here in support of Mr. Ronnie Long's freedom. And so today we're launching the Ronnie Long Project. What is the Ronnie Long Project? With every civil rights case that we address as relates to individuals being released, we initiate a project to get mobilizing, and we mobilize supporters for this particular case. Before we go overseas to fight war, especially in '04, George Bush would make sure that the soldiers were trained and that they had special forces available and ready for a response. Same concept. We're mobilizing, and we plan to get over 100 people. We're going to generate more this Saturday at our rally. The family is invited there to Marshall Park as we embark on the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's March on Washington. We'll be at Marshall Park. Why? I'm bringing the family, the Long family, out of Concord to Charlotte to talk about Ronnie Long's case so people in Charlotte can come back to Concord for a justice rally that we plan to have here in the next 30 days. And that's our goal. We mobilize. Why do we do that? Well, I'll give you a history. It was mobilization that took Troy Davis' case to the forefront. Over 1 million people signed his petition. President Jimmy Carter signed his petition and said that if they killed Troy Davis, it would be an atrocity in the state of Georgia. We mobilized for Trayvon Martin. As I was en route to Sanford, Florida, I realized as we were en route, people started losing their jobs. Chief of police stepped down. Different officials in the city started releasing their titles, so to speak. And less than 46 days, Mr. Zimmerman was locked back up. Mobilization helps. It's definitely helped with Dr. King, of course, in the '60s, with the Montgomery bus boycott and others. So today, nothing's different. We're using the same blueprint for civil rights that Dr. King used over 50 years ago. So today, we thank everyone for coming out. We thank the support. There's some inmates that we're in connection with. Brother Ali, any inmates here? Good. He was in jail with Brother Ronnie Long? Okay. Gotcha. So we have some brothers here. I appreciate y'all coming. We have some brothers here that was in prison with Mr. Ronnie Long, have gotten out, now at home, being productive in the community, and yet Ronnie still sits in that prison cell. And so we want to change that. We're going to be very persistent. There will be rallies monthly. There will be marches, because we're in the mode of direct action right now, which means if you can't negotiate, you can't work out deals with public defenders and DAs and lawyers or the city, then we initiate direct action, and that's what step we're in now. As I close for questions, there's 5 steps in civil rights that we always use. Information gathering. Dr. King came up with this in 1957 when he established the SCLC. We first gather information. And I had to find out, coming from Lake Wiley, South Carolina, who was Ronnie Long. I began to realize that during his court date, there was a lot of issues going on. People were being maced and beaten by plugs, billy clubs, I guess. There was literally a small riot that happened in his courtroom, which gave me another sign that something's not right. Reverend Sharpton and my grandmother used to tell me that if something looks like a snake, something crawls like a snake, then at the end of the day, it just might be a snake. So today, we're here fighting for someone who we believe should be released and someone we strongly believe who's innocent. Lastly, we want to let you all know that those 6 steps, again, is information gathering, personal commitment, education, negotiation, and also direct action. And the last one is reconciliation. That means we're not mad at those cops if they did lock him up and maybe they've hidden some evidence. We don't know what the facts may be. But we're not going to initiate anger, be mad. We're just going to initiate what Dr. King did and show love to those same officers who I'm sure are somewhere around here right now. They may be retired, but they somewhere, maybe they peeping through the windows right now. But we know that if their heart was not pure, then that's real reason why Ronnie Long is in prison today. And we're going to keep continuing to fight and stand for justice for Ronnie Long. So the project has begun. It started 30 days ago. It's publicly being started today. And we're also going to be sending a letter to Reverend Al Sharpton, my mentor, in reference to Mr. Long's case to bring more exposure to this particular issue. We thank you all for coming out, and we'll take questions right now if you want to have questions. We thank Groundbreaking Videos, who assisted us in getting Officer Paranda out of office in Salisbury. We did the same press conference, and Paranda was removed from office in less than 4 months. You can see that visually on YouTube under Thug Press Conference. So we thank Groundbreaking for being here. Brother Michael Foster from Charlotte, good friend of mine. So we bring our own media crew so we can get the message out. Their videos, as well as Mr. Stewart Watson's video, the link, when it's produced, will be sent to Reverend Sharpton so he can see visually what we're doing down here in Charlotte. Last time I brought Reverend Sharpton to Charlotte was for Nick Mackey, Afro-American male, who won his sheriff position, but yet and still they did not give him that position. So we do plan on definitely reaching out to him and MSNBC. Of course, he's a host on that on Politic Nation. Questions? Questions? We thank the Independent Tribune for being here as well. I think I talked to you last night.
What's the current status of the case?
Current status of the case right now, from the last trial that we had, it was almost like a split decision, so to speak. It went into a draw. We had 3 judges that was in support, 3 wasn't, and 1 that didn't vote. Is that correct? So very strange to me that 1 judge decided not to even vote at all. Is that correct? So the status of that is that we're trying to bring exposure to that particular meeting or that particular court hearing, because we believe that on that day, Mr. Long may have very well been released on that day. So we're going to bring exposure to that issue. I met Mr. Cochran, Johnny Cochran, before he passed away. A lot of people didn't know Nicole Simpson was cut so bad on her neck that only the back of the neck, on back of the skin, her skin was keeping her head attached to her body. Mr. Cochran strategically did not talk about her neck. He talked about 3 things. Young white male living in OJ's house. That's the 3 things that pop in my head. Cato, we remember the dog, and remember the glove. Those are 3 things that stand out in my head. But I realized he didn't focus on the crime scene. He focused on the fact that he believes OJ was not there, and he focused on those other 3 topics that I talked about. Today, we're not talking about anything else, not any old DNA. You know, we've been there, done that with that. Not what happened in 1976. But what happened during that particular court hearing. Because I believe if the Long family had known me in time, we could have mobilized and had about 500 people outside, which is what we're good at, mobilizing. And during that court hearing. So even if we couldn't get inside, we'd be outside initiating pressure for those judges. And that 1 judge that did not take the responsibility to stand up and say either you're with the case for guilty or not guilty. And that's the biggest problem that we have as it relates to the freedom. When Troy Davis in Georgia was put to death. I was there when they put him to death that night. 2 people could have stopped the execution. The governor of Georgia, who was in opposition, and President Barack Obama.